Part 18. Marriage Ceremony. The Republic divided. Their public revelation had shaken the Republic. Some hailed them as pioneers, symbols of courage and change. Others condemned them, bound by centuries of tradition. The council debated endlessly, but the people demanded clarity. Would Kale and Orion stand firm, or would they yield? Kale's jaw tightened as he read the endless messages of support and condemnation. We cannot live in shadows anymore. Orion's gaze burned with resolve. If we fight for survival, we fight for love too. Together, they made the decision. They would marry, openly, before the Republic. The ceremony. The day of the ceremony dawned bright, the suns casting golden light across the capital. Citizens gathered in the plazas, soldiers lined the streets, and cameras broadcasted the event across every world. Kale stood tall in ceremonial armor, his uniform gleaming. Orion stood beside him, his blade sheathed, his eyes fierce. The officiant spoke. Today, we witness not just a union of warriors, but a union of equals. Kale Draven and Orion Vera, alphas of the Republic, heroes of the war, choose to bind themselves together. Kale's voice was steady. I choose him. In battle, in life, in love. Orion's words were fierce. I choose him. Against tradition, against fear, against all odds. Their hands intertwined. Their lips met. And for the first time, the Republic witnessed an alpha-alpha marriage. The reaction. The Republic erupted. Some cheered, hailing them as symbols of change. Others recoiled, bound by tradition. Debates raged across networks. Analysts dissected the ceremony. Commentators argued endlessly. But no matter the reaction, one truth remained. Kale and Orion had stood openly, defying centuries of expectation. Private resolve. Behind the cameras, Kale and Orion stood together, their hands intertwined. The Republic saw heroes, rivals, icons. But in the quiet moments, they knew the truth. They were more than that. Kale whispered, "Whatever comes, we face it together." Orion's lips curled faintly. Always. Closing scene of Part 18. As the sun set over the Republic, Kale and Orion stood side by side, their regiments cheering behind them. The broadcasts hailed them as heroes, their faces immortalized across the stars. And though the Republic was divided, Kale and Orion knew. Their love was stronger than tradition. Part 19. United Front. Strength in unity. The marriage of Kale Draven and Orion Vera had shaken the Republic. Some still resisted, bound by tradition, but many began to see their union as a source of strength. Two alphas, once rivals, now partners, embodying both order and chaos, discipline and fury. Their regiments reflected this change. The Iron Fang soldiers, once rigid in formation, began to adapt to Orion's unpredictability. The Stormbreakers, once reckless, learned to anchor themselves in Kale's precision. Together, they became a force unlike any the Republic had ever seen. The Council's response. The Republic Council, divided at first, began to recognize the power of their unity. Their victories were undeniable, their leadership unmatched. Slowly, resistance gave way to acceptance. One counselor declared, "They are not just alphas. They are the Republic's shield and storm. Together, they are invincible." The broadcasts replayed the words endlessly, citizens debating, but momentum shifted. Kale and Orion were no longer just controversial, they were indispensable. The battlefield of Solara. When the alien fleets struck the world of Solara, Kale and Orion led their regiments side by side. Kale's Iron Fang regiment held the line, shields locked, artillery firing in rhythm. Orion's Stormbreakers surged forward, striking from unexpected angles, scattering enemy formations. The aliens pressed hard, their weapons tearing through defenses. But Kale's precision created openings, and Orion's chaos exploited them. Together, they turned the tide. The Republic broadcasted the battle live, citizens watching in awe as the two alphas fought as one. Their unity was no longer just personal, It was the Republic's greatest weapon. Private resolve. After the battle, Kale and Orion stood together, their hands intertwined. The Republic saw heroes, rivals, icons. But in the quiet moments, they knew the truth. They were more than that. Kale whispered, "We are stronger together." Orion's lips curled faintly. Always. Closing scene of Part 19. As the sun set over Solara, the battlefield smoldering in ruins, Kale and Orion stood side by side, their regiments cheering behind them. The Republic hailed them as heroes, their faces immortalized across the stars. And though the war was far from over, they both knew, united, they could face anything. Part 20. Final War. The gathering of forces. The alien fleets converged on the Republic's heart worlds, their weapons blazing, their war machines blotting out the skies. It was the final offensive, the battle that would decide the fate of humanity. Kale Draven and Orion Vera stood at the command post, their regiments behind them, their faces broadcast across every channel. The Republic had placed its hope in them. Kale's jaw tightened. "This is the war that will define us." Orion's eyes burned. "And we'll face it together." The battle begins. The battlefield erupted as the alien fleets descended. Kale's Iron Fang regiment locked shields, artillery firing in rhythm, their discipline holding the line. Orion's Stormbreakers surged forward, striking from unexpected angles, their fury scattering enemy formations. The aliens pressed hard, their weapons tearing through defenses. But Kale's precision created openings, and Orion's chaos exploited them. Together, they turned the tide. The Republic broadcasted the battle live, citizens watching in awe as the two alphas fought side by side. Their unity was no longer just personal, it was humanity's greatest weapon. The turning point. As the battle raged, the aliens unleashed their final weapon, a colossal war engine, larger than the Oblivion Core, bristling with weapons. The battlefield shook as it descended, its power threatening to annihilate everything. Kale's voice carried across the battlefield. "Hold the line." Orion's fury burned. "Break their defenses." Together, they surged forward, their regiments following, their blades flashing. Slowly, impossibly, they turned the tide. The final strike. At the heart of the battlefield, Kale and Orion fought side by side, their voices carrying across the storm. "We end this now," Kale shouted. "Together." Orion replied. They struck at the war engine's core, their regiments pressing forward, their fury and discipline united. The engine shuddered, its weapons faltering, its armor cracking. With one final strike, Kale and Orion destroyed the alien weapon. The battlefield erupted in cheers. The Republic was saved. Closing scene of Part 20. As the sun set over the battlefield, the ruins of the alien fleets smoldering in the dust, Kale and Orion stood together, their regiments cheering behind them. The Republic hailed them as heroes, their faces immortalized across the stars. And though the war was over, they both knew their story was far from finished. Together, they had saved humanity. Together, they would shape its future.